Hey everybody, welcome to the Kick It with Katie podcast. Again, welcome. This is the short introductory episode to the podcast. And introducing myself, I am your host, Katie Colliker, and I will be interviewing former competitive soccer players that grew up playing youth soccer and asking them to share their stories and experiences growing up through comp soccer and where it took them. Whether that be playing professionally or going to college, or maybe it just helped shape them into the person they are today, and maybe they didn't go anywhere with it after high school or whenever they stopped playing. Like myself, I stopped playing my junior year of high school and got back into it after I graduated, but I knew I wasn't going to play college, and so that's kind of my short story, but I will be sharing my story in the actual first episode. I'm going to be interviewing myself, you could say. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what questions you have for these people. If you're curious about how they got to where they were, for the professional players, how they, what was the route that they took, what was, some of the advice that they could give players that are collegiate athletes, if you have questions about recruiting, things like that. I want to get their take on it and how they ended up where they did, because not everybody's experience is the same. And there's obviously more than one way to get where people get. And so I want to share all of their experiences, and hopefully you guys can take their advice and their experiences and help it shape your own experiences if you're a current player. And if you're a parent, hopefully, if they say anything that maybe you can help your player out with, or maybe learn from, maybe if they had a bad experience with a parent or a coach or a situation, you can try and help them avoid that. And I, again, just want to get your questions that you're going to have for the interviews. So I have my own questions that I'm going to be asking, different questions, letting the guests guide the conversation, obviously. But if you have any specific questions that you want answered, shoot them my way at my email, which is kickitwithkatiepod@gmail.com. And I will put it in the show notes and description. So if you want to look for it there, and then you can also find my Instagram handle for the podcast as well in the show notes, and you can follow me there. Leave a review, subscribe, so that you can know when the first episodes start dropping. I am going to be interviewing, like I said, myself. I'm going to be interviewing my husband, Justice Colliker. For those of you that have known him, he's been a part of youth soccer for a really long time and coaching, but I want to hear his experiences growing up. I've heard a lot of them, and they're pretty fun. So I'm excited to interview him and have him share his experiences. And I've got Zach Farnsworth, who's currently with Real Salt Lake, who is going to be interviewed. Chris Brown, also formerly of Real Salt Lake and a couple other MLS clubs, and he played collegiate. Owen Knecht, who is currently at UVU playing. Easton Harriman, he is in San Francisco playing. Will Bagru, he is back east, and he played collegiate and I believe for a USL team currently. And so I've just got some great interviews. And so if you guys want to be interviewed, if you have a story that you want to share, also email me. Again, the email is kickitwithkatiepod@gmail.com, and look for me on Instagram at Kick It with Katie Podcast on Instagram. I'm really excited about this. I've been talking about it for months, and I'm finally getting the show on the road now that the fall season is coming to a close for me, since I am also a coach and a parent of 5 players. So it's definitely been a busy time. So in the first episode, I'm going to be delving more into my story, my experiences. Subscribe and review the podcast as it goes on, so you guys can be aware when the first episodes start dropping. But thanks, you guys, and I hope you have a great day, and thank you for kicking it with me. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at kickitwithkatie_podcast _ between all the words. You can reach out to me with questions at kickitwithkatiepod@gmail.com. I also have a feature with SpeakPipe where you can leave me your own voicemail message if you want to be featured on the podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.